What was I about to do? Yep, turn that down. Yep. Alright, my bad. I'm just trying to test out the audio. Audio input capture. Let's turn it down. Okay. So, starting off. Okay. Alright, so as you can read the description, and what I said from the last live stream, we're gonna be watching some horror story, animated horror stories. I say we probably will watch like 20-30 minutes of it for Friday horror night. So enough yapping. Let's get right into it. The following stories. Okay, I didn't get to read. Okay.
What is this?
Hold on, wait. Let's pause that for now. Turn it down to about 89.
Salad! You keep pointing to salad! I don't want a salad! Salad is a sandwich this big. Get it right, it's a 6-inch sandwich. I want a foot-long sandwich without a bowl.
I work the night shift at Subway, and for the most part, I prefer the much later shifts as there are far fewer customers at that time of night. The only major downside to the night shift is dealing with the crazies that come in from time to time. However, there's been one guy recently. He's been coming in just about every night, and out of all the people of the night I've encountered at this job, he's the one that scares me. He's super tall, with a mean overbite, and I can't exaggerate just how extreme those features are. When I say he's tall, I mean he's probably several inches over 7 feet tall, well and far above the top of the measuring stick taped to the door that's meant to identify would-be robbers. And his overbite, it's downright freakish. It makes him look like some sort of man-crocodile hybrid, the way his gnarly, rotten snaggle teeth jut out of his jaw, which he can't even fully get his lips over with how deformed it is. Because of this, his mouth is always hanging open, and his mouth breathing makes it even more obvious that his oral hygiene is non-existent. Even stranger, his clothes are too small to fit a guy as big as him, which makes me think he's either homeless or just too poor to be able to buy clothes in his size. But what really stinks the place up every time he comes in are his feet, which he never has shoes or socks on to cover up. Given that he looks so desperate and downtrodden, I thought at first he wouldn't be a very picky customer, but I was dead wrong about that. He always wanted his subs made to ridiculously exact proportions, like he was ordering catering to his wedding or something. And if I ever made a mistake, I wouldn't even have to give him a breath of attitude for him to flip out like a little baby, except his tantrums were anything but little.
Add lettuce, now.
Okay, sir?
No, not enough, more!
Okay, sir.
No! Too much! Take it off!
That's how it went every time I made his sub. We were stuck in this dance of irritating exactness, where I would put on a tiny bit of a topping, or take off a tiny bit of a topping, and he would scream at me and threaten to rip my head off until I get it right. Obviously, making an entire foot-long sub like this takes an unreasonable amount of time. So even though it was the middle of the night, a line of tired, impatient people often formed behind him. Man, can't you just make it yourself if you're gonna be like this? Okay, sir, here's your one custom footlong, and that'll be $6.95. He dug through his pockets for several anxious seconds, obviously struggling to fit his huge hands in normal-sized pockets. Finally, he fished out a crumpled $5 bill and threw it on the counter. then picked the sub off the counter with his unnaturally long arms. But before walking away to eat, he looked me in the eye and flashed me a haunting grin and said,
$5 footlong.
Footlongs haven't actually been $5 for years, long since before I ever started working at Subway. But I wasn't about to pester this guy for $1.95. Plus, from the way he spoke, and just everything about the way he was, I figured he had some sort of mental disorder or disability, which meant I'd probably be talking to a brick wall if I even tried to get him to pay full price. So I just made up the difference of the change in the tip jar and called it sorted. But I must say, one of the weirdest things about him is the way he eats. He doesn't even chew. He just unwraps the sandwich and devours the whole thing in one bite. That first night, things were
Dog. Why did I didn't even want to watch him shove a foot long. You know what? It's always a sub. It's always late at night at Subway, man. It's always Subway.
Mostly uneventful, but that was only the first of many trips he made to the shop. After that, I saw him just about every shift, and I wasn't the only person there who recognized him. People hated getting stuck in line behind him because they knew he would take a stupid amount of time to get through. However, there was one customer in particular who had a special bone to pick. He was the guy in line that first night, just an average-looking black dude with a regular night shift break time. That guy was always snarky.
Why don't you just make the sub yourself since you're so damn tall? Emotional damage! Leave me the hell alone!
I know this is a really weird situation, but I got used to his pickiness, and I even started to get better at knowing what he wanted. I got used to him sitting in the same exact spot every night to eat his sandwich in one unholy bite. I got used to taking a couple dollars out of my tips when he handed me a $5 bill. And I even got used to the way he scared me without even doing anything. He was obviously one of those people that needed a strict routine in order to function, so I wasn't going to mess with it, even if he underpaid for every order. But that's why I was struck with curiosity when his order suddenly changed. One night, he came in at the same time and ordered the same bread. There I was thinking this would just be like any other night, but then he didn't order any meatballs like he always did, just the cheese, veggies, and condiments. This helped bring the price of the footlong down $1 or so. But as always, he paid with a crumpled 5. I really didn't think he was trying to be economic, so I watched him as he sat down. I was only able to do this because it was slower than usual that night, and I had no other customers to attend to. I tried not to make it obvious, but I was mesmerized. He unwrapped the footlong and opened it up, then reached into his jacket and pulled out some kind of weird meat. I figured it was roadkill or jerky or something. But whatever it was, he laid it out very carefully on the sandwich, all the while muttering,
Me making myself this time.
And when he was done, he closed up the sub and swallowed it whole, just like every other footlong. This went on for several weeks, and each night, my curiosity grew. For some reason, business at the night shift had slowed down more than ever before, so I had very little to do but ponder what that mysterious meat was. At the beginning of my next shift, I planted a tiny little hidden camera inside the napkin holder on the table he always sat at. And after going through the motions one more time and closing up shop, I retrieved it and went home to look over the footage. All I wanted was a closer look at the meat he was eating, but I ended up getting more than I bargained for. I watched him pull out meat from inside his jacket, but as he did, a dark bloody finger fell out and hit the table. He saw this and quickly placed it in the sandwich before I could see it in the moment. But I'd seen it all right, and my mind was sent reeling. It didn't take me long to put two and two together, to realize that the crocodile giant had gotten fed up with a certain man's issues with his ways. Instead of settling for Subway's meatballs, he'd killed that man and had been eating him slowly for nights on end. No wonder business had been slow.
Awaken to
Why am I getting ads? Why am I getting ads? Why do I have an ad? Why do I have an ad?
a world of wonder in Final Fantasy XIV Online.
Back to whatever that was. That's correct. And if that's like actually true, that's insane. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say.
First and foremost, we want to apologize to any Chick-fil-A fans in advance. This is hands down one of the most disturbing fast food stories we have ever covered on the channel. More details will be explained during and after the story. Chick-fil-A is supposed to be pretty popular. It's supposed to be so good that the drive-thru lines can wrap around the building and pour out into the street at any time of day or night. I remember being one of those people in line. The faithful, hungry customer waiting to get the most delicious chicken sandwich money can buy from a fast food joint. For years, I was used to the steady quality. And more than that, I was used to sharing the experience with friends and family. But then I moved cities to be close to my first job after college. Right after I moved in, I didn't have many friends aside from my coworkers, and their go-to lunch spot was always Popeyes. I went along with it because I didn't want to be left out, but to be honest, I really dislike Popeyes. There's just something extra greasy about it that makes it sit like a rock inside my stomach. After a few occasions of grabbing a disappointing lunch with my coworkers, I was really homesick for some Chick-fil-A, whether anyone would go with me or not. Of course, I wasn't going to drive all the way back to my old city just to have a chicken sandwich, so I took a chance on the location near my new home. I arrived after work around 6 p.m., which is usually a pretty busy time for them, but I was the only one there. As I drove up, I saw no cars in the drive-thru and only one car left in the parking lot. I'd never seen a Chick-fil-A so deserted during the day, so out of curiosity I went inside. At first glance, nothing seemed too out of the ordinary, except for the fact that every single seat was empty and there was nobody waiting in line. I walked straight up to the register, but even there, I saw nobody. I could hear all the machinery running back there in the kitchen, but I didn't see one single person manning them. For a moment, I wondered if there was anybody working back there at all.
Hello?
My voice echoed without a response. I was just about to turn away and leave when an extremely elderly man hobbled out to greet me.
Well, hello there.
Look at his face. Look at his build. Buddy built like a gnome. Yeah, get up out of there. But are we not gonna like talk about how he has blood? Look at his teeth. He don't even look real. Bro,
There, little lady. What's your name?
Yeah. Could I just have a number 1 combo with a large drink and a small fry?
Would you like that cooked here or at home?
Excuse me, what do you mean by at home?
Well, it's just a shame to see such a beautiful woman going out to dinner by herself. I could be your chef and chaperone if you allow me to take you home. The ladies tell me I make a mean chicken sandwich. You know, you can eat it while we're in bed.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, but no.
You sure? I can make it extra juicy just for you.
I said no, thank you. I have a boyfriend.
Well, if you have a man, then where the hell is he?
That's none of your business.
And the car you described was nowhere in sight. What?
my bad, guys.
It was a
Sweetheart.
Oh, okay. We're kind of spoiling some of it.
What do you mean by at home?
Well, it's just a shame. You can eat it while we're in bed.
No, thank you. I have a boyfriend.
Well, if you have a man, then where the hell is he?
That's none of your business. Just take my order, please.
All right, then, fine. I see how it is. What was it? Number 1 with a large drink and a small fry?
Yes, thank you.
All right, then. I'll be back. Gotta make it myself. Don't go anywhere.
I couldn't believe my ears. I never had such bad service at a Chick-fil-A before. I was starting to see why nobody in this town ever wanted to eat here. And by the looks of it, if that guy was the manager, nobody wanted to work here either. It was obvious now why it was so empty inside. If it wasn't so eerie, I wouldn't have believed my eyes when I saw a glimpse of a little mouse running around the corner. I couldn't believe a place like this wasn't already out of business. Even more so because the service was about as quick as it was respectful. I got bored quickly while waiting, and at some point, I got up to use the bathroom. More just to kill time than for actually needing to urinate. But when I got into the bathroom, I just about ran out then and there. And God, I should have. It was filthier than any public restroom I've ever seen. Even those rundown gas station bathrooms that people do all sorts of stuff inside of. The toilet seat was crusted over with something, but at least there was enough toilet paper to cover it up. Worst part, I was in the middle of my urination when I felt something bite my ankle. I reflexively kicked my leg out, just to see a jumbo-sized rat fly up and hit the stall door, fall down and smack against the floor, then scurry away like he'd been the victim. I immediately clinched up and pulled my pants back on and rushed out of that horrible stall. I went to wash my hands, but there was not a drop of soap in the dispenser. Worse still, when I looked down into the sink, I saw an army of cockroaches crawling out of the drain. At that point, I knew there was no point in trying to rinse off my hands. Every second I spent in that cesspit was just making me dirty. I stormed out of the bathroom, ready to tear that old creep a new one, but he was somehow ahead of me. At the moment he saw me, he climbed on top of the counter and started screaming with my food in hand, dangling it out toward my face.
Here's your food, sweetheart. Come and grab it like I'm your boyfriend.
I marched up and snatched the food out of his hands before he could get the bright idea to start throwing it around like a crazy person.
Shut up, sicko. What the hell is wrong with you?
I made no indication that I wanted to continue speaking with him. I had my food and all I wanted to do was eat it, so maybe I could still get the little taste of home and make the best of this awful situation. I picked out a table in the far corner of the restaurant. At first glance, everything seemed to be in order. I had my drink, my sandwich, and my fries. Unfortunately, it didn't take long for me to notice that something was terribly wrong. And I'm not talking about flat soda or soggy fries. As I took my first bite of the sandwich, I noticed an unusual, unsettling chewy texture. It sent a chill down my spine, like when you find an unexpected tendon in a bite of meat. I spat it out immediately. I looked first at the half-chewed pile and saw a dark spot that shouldn't have been there. My first thought was that something had burned. I threw the sandwich down on the table and pulled it apart. The top bun was fine, and so was the fillet. For a second I thought I was tricking myself, but then I saw on the bottom side of the bottom bun that dark crescent shape. I picked at it thinking it was char, but it didn't flake away. I took a closer look and saw what looked like the shape of a tail and tiny little whiskers poking out of the bread. Still in disbelief, I pinched it and carefully pulled the object out of the bun. There, I held it up in my hand, and my jaw dropped. It was a baby rat with a tiny bite taken out of it. My stomach convulsed and I started dry heaving. At the same time, I couldn't stop myself from screaming. Somehow I had the wherewithal in that moment to snap a picture of the situation. But I didn't stay sane for very long. Knowing what I bit into and almost swallowed thoroughly broke my mind. I could hardly eat for weeks following the incident. I kept waking up from nightmares of baby rats spawning in my stomach and crawling.
My thing is, you had like 50 million different warnings, bro. The first one, Buddy got holes and blood on him. He looks creepy. There's a rat. You sat down, there was a rat that ran past your foot. You went to the bathroom. Rats on your leg. Went to wash your hands. Roaches coming out the sink. Like, why are you still eating there?
Out of my throat. Things have gotten better now, but I still haven't fully recovered from the PTSD. Of course, I'm suing everyone involved with the situation for everything they had, and I won't rest until that place is bulldozed and that crazy old creep gets thrown in the nursing home for the criminally insane that he belongs in. On November 25th, 2016, a Pennsylvania woman claimed that she found a small mouse which was baked into her Chick-fil-A sandwich. This is the alleged photograph of the sandwich in question. You can clearly see a mouse infused in the bun. Here's another image of the mouse separated. The woman was treated at a nearby hospital for extreme nausea and has since filed a lawsuit.
Please welcome an absolutely new Crossout, a free-to-play multiplayer action game about battles and cool vehicles in a post-apocalyptic world.
The last picture? I see it right there. And you're lying. So delete it right now before I make a scene. I swear to God. Delete it right now before I make a scene. I want to see it. Yeah, let me see it. No, delete it right now. That's very disrespectful. How dare you? How dare you?
This has got to be one of the most intense clips on the net. A gym creep caught red-handed and put on blast to the general public. What came of this situation was nothing short of disturbing, as this was the kind of thing most females have to deal with during their workout. The female in question records the confrontation with the creep on her cell phone. Here's a dramatized version animated by yours truly. I worked out frequently at my local gym called Planet Fitness. I'd like to call myself a seasoned gym rat, as I had a habit of working out till I experienced hot flashes where I would see nothing but white for a split second. The gym was known for containing mostly females since it didn't have the same heavy-set equipment that another fitness center had, like LA Fitness. Though there were the occasional men that attended, which wasn't really a bad thing if they weren't looking at me during my workouts so damn often. One day, while I was doing my routine at the gym, I saw this man doing some warm-ups, his eyes fixed.
Yeah. Buddy. Yo. He cannot be real, yo. Look at his chin bill, yo. Buddy got gold teeth now. Oh my god, yo. He can't be this can't be real.
Fixated on me.
Ugh, how typical.
I thought to myself. I had encountered a lot of men before who used to flex their muscles at an angle where I could see them, or converse with me, hoping they could get my number in the end. So I assumed this guy was just one of them, and I went on to do a series of drop setting, which required me to lift and drop weights about 20 times. Moments later, I could see from my peripheral vision that the man was no longer stretching, but staring dead at me. I was used to guys glancing at me every now and then, but there was something about this man's gaze that made me feel uneasy. So I decided to transfer to the other side, where I could no longer see him. However, when I transferred, it didn't take long for him to find me and continue oogling. When I turned my gaze towards him, he smiled and began waving his hand, revealing crusty yellow teeth. Thinking that he might come close if I waved back, I simply averted my gaze and approached an instructor, pretending to inquire about the sessions he offered. However, this man was adamant. He stood as he watched me converse with the fitness trainer, and when the coach noticed him, he, too, was creeped out, prompting him to step forward. Then, facing the creep, he asked, "Is there something you need, buddy?" His face began to sour, and after gritting his teeth in frustration, he shouted at the instructor, "You're interrupting my workout, Mr. Steroids! Can't you see I'm trying to work out? How about you leave the young lady alone so we can all enjoy ourselves?" I couldn't help but feel disgusted at his "leave the young lady alone so we can all enjoy ourselves" remark. Nonetheless, I immediately left and decided to transfer to another Planet Fitness location the following day. When I finally arrived at the new gym, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I'm not talking about dumbbells. I began to immediately lift weights freely without having to worry if some creep was eyeballing me. I felt like I was finally able to push myself to my max and began experiencing hot flashes that I attributed as my body telling me to take it easy. However, to my horror, I saw the same guy from a distance, staring right at me. I couldn't believe my eyes as I was literally convinced I had a psychotic stalker on my hands. Disgusted, I transferred to the other side of the gym, and somehow it was just like yesterday. However, this
I would have caught the scene so bad. Hey! That guy's following me! Hey! I would have caught the scene, right? I ain't gonna lie. I would have caught straight scene.
This time, there were no fitness trainer, and there were a lot more women than men doing sit-ups and yoga. He did follow me as I anticipated, and he angled himself so that later, when I gave my protein shake a jiggle, I saw the creep oogling me once more as he curled his fingers around those dumbbells. And even when I wasn't supposed to look, I couldn't help but notice all the mess he created from drooling and wetting his shorts. Even the women next to him moved to another area, apparently frightened. Bothered by this, I transferred once more. Luckily, this gym was much more spacious than the last one. However, moments later, as I was filling up my water bottle, I was startled at the sight of a man crouching next to the fountain, licking it passionately like he was a dehydrated dog, with his eyes in contact with mine.
Stop licking your lips at me, you freak!
I jolted in fear and threw the bottle at the creep, fleeing the area. Then, as I approached the elliptical machine, I noticed the man still following behind me, pissing me off. Moments later, while doing some squats, he came to the bench, and I could feel him pressing behind me. So I moved to another squat rack, where the freak followed me, pressing behind me once more. There was no way in hell I wanted to work my glutes and give this creep a front row seat.
What's your deal, huh?
I asked, infuriated, but instead of saying something in return, he chortled in a condescending way that pushed me to my limit.
Alright, that's it. I'm calling the cops on this one.
He grabbed my arm tightly and whispered, "Come on, don't ruin the fun. Just play along."
Let go of me!
I scowled as I yanked my arm away from him. Okay, you win. No cops. I promise I'll leave." He turned his back and went in another direction. When the coast was clear, I went back to squatting, my mind finally at ease. However, just when I thought everything was smooth sailing from here, I saw a bright flash of light from the corner of my eyes, and a creep was there with a cell phone in his hands. When he noticed me glaring at him, he pretended to be talking to someone on the phone, and I completely lost it this time. I yelled amidst everyone in the gym, letting them know that there was a creep in our presence.
Were you just taking a photo of my butt, you creep?
The man's confidence diminished as the other women in the gym glanced at him with abhorrence.
Hey! Answer me when I'm talking to you!
In an attempt to save face, he replied, "What are you talking about? Don't be full of yourself, woman. I was talking to someone on the phone."
Don't you dare lie to me, you pervert. I saw that camera flash on your phone.
I grabbed his phone and started browsing through his gallery, which contained candid photos of different women working out in the gym. Then, among the latest images were pictures of myself, squatting.
Delete these photos right now. Do you understand me? Right now.
I exclaimed as I pushed him frantically. Okay, I'm doing it. Sheesh, so sensitive.
Show me you've deleted all of them. Show me.
He displayed an empty gallery, cussing me for being a killjoy, and finally left the gym. I cried as some of the other women approached me to offer some comfort. But what really bothers me was how my hot flashes were probably just flashes from that creep's cell phone the whole time.
Sorry to ruin your groove. Isn't that the worst? What if I told you that there was a way for you to skip ads like this forever? This is Pi, and if it sounds familiar to you,
And I can bench press 5 plates, but...
The next story is a nightmare fuel animation based on the classic Mario and Luigi mascots. They've been around for approximately over 3 decades now, and we'd figured we'd make a backstory on the polarizing figures for the Nintendo fans out there. Here's what the story looks like. Have you ever heard of the legendary tale of the Super Mario Bros? The iconic plumbers with their signature red and green attire that every kid marvels at when playing Nintendo? I'm not sure myself if this is indeed fact or fiction, but from my own judgment, I can't rule out its legitimacy. I heard this story decades ago, and it was told from a friend of mine. We'll call the individual involved Rick for anonymous purposes. Rick was in his late teens, around the age of hitting full puberty, morphing from boy to man. He was 18 years old to be exact, but was still a kid at heart, because he would occasionally do sleepovers at his friends' places. Near the tail end of his high school days, he befriended this guy named Luigi. It was rumored that Luigi had an older brother named Mario, and no one really knew the likes of him, as he was considered a closed-off weirdo who isolated himself often. Rick never really knew Mario, despite being close friends with Luigi. It was said through word of mouth that Luigi and Mario were both high school dropouts who fished to be plumbers early on since school wasn't their strong suit. The brothers would eventually move in together at a 2-story house, occupied with Luigi taking top floor and Mario taking bottom. Whenever Rick kicked it at Luigi's place, there was never any talk or acknowledgement of Mario. Until one night, on one Friday evening, the pair decided to order an extra-large pizza to go along with their movie later that night. While Luigi sorted through his box of VHS tapes, Rick was in charge of purchasing the pizza.
Hello, this is Pizza Hut. How may I take your order?
Yeah, give me an extra-large with every topping on the menu, man. Oh, except pineapple.
Alright, is there anything else I can help you with, sir?
And maybe just be generous with the toppings, especially the mushrooms. Thank you, dude. A few minutes later, Rick and Luigi settle on the living room couch while awaiting their pizza. Rick curiously asks Luigi, "Hey dude, how come your brother never leaves the basement? Like, does he ever go out?" "I thought I told you not to mention his name." "Sorry dude, I couldn't help but ask. Did you want to invite him up here to join?"
Stop asking about him. What's the matter with you?
The doorbell rings and that's when the pizza guy arrives. Rick heads over to the foyer and pays the delivery man with a few dollar bills. The time was approximately 11 p.m. when the pair began to indulge in the extra-large mountain of cheesy goodness topped by the finest toppings. But from that point on, things took a sadistic turn for the worst. Luigi began to go on a verbal rampage as he spotted something extremely wrong with the pizza, saying,
Why the hell did you order mushrooms on the pizza? He can smell it from down there.
"What the hell are you talking about, dude?
Don't eat it. I'm warning you. He'll kill us all.
Are you talking about your brother, Mario?"
We have to take all the mushrooms off the pizza, now, before it's too late.
Okay. The pair began to frantically pluck every last bit of mushrooms off the pizza to set aside. It was known that no one, not even Luigi, had seen his own brother in over a year, despite living under the same roof. They apparently had a falling out over a similar situation where a past guest ordered pizza with mushrooms. Despite all that, Luigi made his way down the dark and creaky basement with his flashlight. The room was filled with complete darkness, with not even a light switch in sight. "Mario, where are you?"
It's me, Mario. Where are you? It smells like shit down here. And why the hell is there a damn well in the middle of the basement?
Luigi then flashes his light in the corner of the room and notices Mario standing face first against the wall while murmuring some kind of gibberish to himself.
I need to expand. I need to grow bigger. I need mushrooms.
Luigi then crouches with the bowl in his hand and sets it on the ground while nervously saying,
Long time no see, bro. I'm leaving the mushrooms here, okay, Mario? It's me, Mario!
Without any hesitation, Luigi makes a run for it up the stairs and resumes his sleepover with Rick. The pair began to watch a movie while devouring their slices of pizza. Rick could tell Luigi was a little shaken up, but decided not to address the matter. Instead, he stuffed his face even further. A quarter way through the movie, Rick asks Luigi, "Hey dude, can I have the last slice?"
Sure, dude. Wait, don't eat that!
Luigi catches himself mid-sentence as he spots a mushroom on the pizza slice. But his warning was unfortunately late by a millisecond.
It's me, Mario! No! No! Ah!
The next animation is loosely based on a case in Wisconsin that happened around the 4th of July of 2021. What went down was pretty tragic, but nonetheless a shocking tale to be shared to the world. It's been a day since my parents left the house to visit our family's cabin in White Lake, Wisconsin for the 4th of July. The last time I ever saw them and spoke to them was before they left in their Honda Civic. Since then, I haven't been able to hear from them, which I thought was quite strange. This wasn't the first time they'd been to the cabin, so based on past experiences, they'd contact me within 2 to 3 hours. However, this time around, I hadn't received a call from them or a single text telling me how they were doing. So, as 24 hours passed, I began to sweat profusely, feeling a bit anxious. Hey, stop being so paranoid, I told myself, as I sat on the couch watching my favorite rom-com on HBO. Then, moments later, my heart skipped a beat, and my entire body went cold within seconds, even if it was in the middle of summer. Turning off the television, thoughts of my parents getting into an accident or being robbed by hitchhikers consumed me. No matter what I did, I couldn't shake off the feeling of despair. On the second day, I tried calling them again, but still no response. So my hands would constantly fidget as I dialed the numbers. Calm down, Alvin, I thought to myself. You're imagining things again, and sometimes you go way out of line. Later on, I contacted my relatives to see if they could shed some light. However, to my dismay, they had not received any message from my parents for the last couple of hours. Lost in agony, I sat alone at the dining table, heedless of the bowl of tomato soup left untouched as I gazed blankly into the void. I began talking to myself, saying, "Thanks for the soup, Mom. Your cooking's the best in the world." And as I poured myself a glass of water, I added, "Do you want a bottle of beer, Dad? I can get one from the fridge." The water overspilled, blanketing the floor. Then, what started as anxiety slowly turned to rage. As I glanced at the empty chairs, I couldn't go to work. My thoughts overthrown by the nagging feeling that something terrible had already happened. So, while I was taking a shower, I would stay in the tub for hours, allowing the water to flow constantly as I stared at the ceiling, wondering, what happened to those two? Did they reach the cabin? Where the hell are they? Then, as I went to bed, I would hear screams in the middle of the night, keeping me up until the wee hours of the morning. It sounded much like my parents, but as soon as I turned on the lights, no one was there. So, like a nightmare that I had to wash away, I would lock myself in the bathroom, splashing water on my face. Then, glancing at myself in the mirror, I would draw a deranged smile, telling myself, "This is nothing. Why am I being so foolish? They're probably having so much fun that they forgot to check their phones. That's all." Moments later, those rosy cheeks were bathed in salty tears as I maintained a forceful grin, but nothing worked. All this psychobabble wasn't getting me anywhere. Frustrated, I slammed the door, pulling out the drawers in my room and ripping the pillows apart, countless wing feathers scattering across the floor. So finally, on the third night, I decided to call 911. Come on, pick up. What's the matter with you? I don't have all day. Every second felt like an hour. So when an officer answered the call, I had never felt more relieved.
Thanks for calling 911. How may I help you?
The lady on the other end asked with authority and reverence. I'm Alvin, and, you see, my parents have been missing, so, for some odd reason, I couldn't get my head straight.
Okay, sir. Take a deep breath and calm down. Kindly give me your location, please.
I gave her my address and demanded that they step on it. And when she confirmed if it was both parents, I yelled, "Yes!"
All right. Understood. Now, I need you to calm down as we dispatch police officers who will soon be headed your way. Am I clear?
Stop telling me to calm down, for goodness sake! I fiercely replied, my hand shaking.
I understand, sir, but I need you to promise me that you won't cause yourself any harm until the cops arrive. Can you do that for me?
Yeah, whatever. Just hurry up, will ya?
All right, thank you, Alvin. The police should be with you shortly.
When the cops rang the doorbell, I instantly ran to the door and urged them to come in. Then, sitting on the couch, they asked me too many questions that made me feel like it wasn't getting us anywhere. Look, why don't you just go to the cabin like I told you, so we wouldn't be wasting any more time? Don't worry, sir, we're getting to that. We just need to gather all the necessary details before instructing our co-officers to search the cabin. But I already told you everything you need to know!
Excuse me, play you for those ultras?
Well, we're kind of...
Who will soon be headed your way. Am I clear?
Both officers looked at me suspiciously and coerced me to sit down as they proceeded to search the house. Moments later, one of them motioned to arrest me, to which I replied with a frown and knife in hand as I swung at them for self-defense. What's the meaning of this, officer? You've got the wrong guy! Then, someone hit me from behind and I dropped to the floor. So, in my semi-stupor, I could see investigators wearing gloves as they yanked out dismembered body parts from the travel bags they took from upstairs, the look of terror in their eyes. Moments later, I drew a sinister grin and said, "Hi, Dad. It looks like they finally found you." However, to this day, my mother's whereabouts are unknown.
5, 4, 3, 2...
was 35 minutes. Of 2 horror stories. I would continue on, but I'm gonna we're gonna wrap it up right here for Friday Horror Night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I did. Next Friday we'll probably have something much more scarier, probably like ghosts caught on video or something. Just something scary, probably like some Sam and Kobe or something. Who knows? Some scary. But make sure you guys subscribe, turn on, notifications, like, comment, all that. Later on, probably like a little bit after I wrap this up, we're probably gonna play some BeamNG. Some of you might not know what that is, but that's a card game. And I got a new setup. I got the steering wheel and I got the shifter. So depending on how I feel, we might play that tonight. Do it like for like an hour or so. But yeah, though, that's gonna wrap it up for tonight, guys. Well, for Friday Horror Night. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. See y'all in probably like 10 more minutes, and I might start back up another stream.